Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Biohack-it. And today I'm super excited about my guest. This is Jess Kane. She is the CMO of BodyBio. If you follow me on Instagram, you know this is one of my absolute favorite supplement brands. And I thought I wanted to bring Jess on and really dive into the history of BodyBio and why they're doing things differently when it comes to the supplement space. The market is oversaturated. There's a lot of great marketing out there, not that many good brands out there. So welcome, Jess, and I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to dive straight in. So BodyBio, for most people that don't know, is this is 3 generations old now. You're the 3rd generation in the business. So let's tell everybody a little bit about the background, where the company started.
Yeah, so the company was actually started 35 years ago. It was started by my grandparents. They started the company because my grandfather was a serial entrepreneur. He had a steel factory. He had heavy metal toxicity. He was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. He was just an OG biohacker, somebody who was really not willing to take that diagnosis at face value and wanted to dig deeper. So like, this is your diagnosis. My doctors are basically telling me nothing in the 1980s that can be done for it. What can I do to reverse this? And they started BodyBio out of that research, getting into that field. And actually, BodyBio started as blood tests. So we would test people's blood, we would see what they needed, and then we would send them these reports.
So this would be functional labs back in the day, right?
Way back in the day.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they actually partnered with LabCorp to do these. I mean, when nobody was doing these.
Yeah.
There were no at-home kits.
Yeah.
And out of that came this real focus on cellular health. And they realized that at the same time that a lot of these companies were getting started, the big vitamin companies that you know of today, some of the practitioner brands like BHt&x or Zymogen or Thorne even, they were all just really starting in the 1990s and the 2000s. And so they put together specific supplements and figured out how to actually manufacture these specific supplements that they knew people needed based on their blood tests.
And the amazing thing is, right, you grew up around this. You were actually in the art world prior to this. So let's tell everybody a little bit about your background and then how you got involved with BodyBio.
Yeah, so this has always been a part of my life, like health and wellness and eating organic and looking for regenerative agriculture and really kind of like going out of the norm. I mean, my mom, I just remember as a child always going to farm stands. There was never, I don't remember going into a supermarket. Like we were constantly buying things from different farms in the area. And that was before the days of mass herbicides and pesticides.
And you were one of the original biohackers back in the day.
Yeah, I've been doing this, you know, it's been a part of my life forever. So my husband and I were actually living in England. We were living in London. And part of my whole health journey, and it's been so impacted by my grandparents along the way, was, you know, in my early 20s, I had GI issues, H. pylori, inability to digest foods. I was put on Prilosec, Nexium, tons of endoscopies, colonoscopies. Nothing was working. My grandfather literally handed me 2 pills and they changed my life.
It was like, what is this?
You're not producing enough stomach acid. It's actually the opposite of what the doctors are telling you. And you need butyrate. And so I started to kind of come back to it. You know, in college, you go away from it. I started to come back to my health in my early 20s. And then it really kind of continued through my pregnancies in my 30s. But yeah, we were living in London. My husband was working for Fiji Water. And I was working as an art dealer. And then my grandfather spoke to us and said, we'd really like to set up a succession plan for this business so we can take it to the next level. And Brad really knew how to do that. And then I finessed my way in there and convinced Brad to let me work with him.
Slowly but surely, here we are, and now you're the CMO. So Jess really works on branding strategies, expansion of different markets. And I also want to say BodyBio has been built, and this what's amazing about this brand is it was built as a practitioner-focused brand. It was built for the functional communities. It was built for the MDs, and they really backed BodyBio all these years. And now they're expanding into consumer focus, which a lot of brands don't even get to the point that actual doctors are recommending you.
Yeah, a lot of brands come to us and say, how did you do it? Because they're going into it backwards.
Correct.
So they go into it with a ton of funding and they go mass market. They look for that direct to consumer audience to reach the demographic that they're targeting. And then they don't know how to get the doctor's trust.
Right.
And you can start a company with a ton of money. You can fund a lot of studies and try to get doctor trust that way. But at the end of the day, it's efficacy that works with functional and integrative medicine doctors.
You just said something which is really important. I was going to bring it up later, but I want to talk about it now. A lot of these brands, like, say we've done this testing, but what they're taking is one core ingredient that they may not even have a high dosage of and saying, well, we've tested for this, and that's how they get around. This is where marketing works, and this is where people get like missold on things.
Yeah.
So can we talk about that for a second?
I would say 95% of the supplements that you see in the market are made by contract manufacturers. So a company starts with an idea, they reach out to a contract manufacturer, and it's the contract manufacturer that's actually making the supplement. They're doing the testing, they're doing the raw material ingredient sourcing. So there's very few companies out there that look at every single aspect. So what type of MCT oil is being used? What type of rice flour is being used as a filler? Is it organic? Is it not? Is it non-GMO?
What is the percentage of it?
Have you tested it for heavy metals? So there's so much, it's an opaque market.
Yeah.
And there's so many unknowns. And what I've learned from being an insider in this industry is there's so many aspects to manufacturing supplements, and that's what makes BodyBio truly unique in this space, is that we have our hands on everything. So we have both in-house quality control, and then we do third-party testing as well. This whole idea of third-party testing is even a load of BS, because it's like, what lab are you using?
Yeah.
Are they accredited? What are they testing for? So this gets into this conversation, which I like to really have, because it's a part of what we do is liposomal supplements.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things that there's no regulation from an FDA perspective about what can be called liposomal. And so you have some companies mixing things like MCT oil or some type of saturated fat, calling it a liposome.
That's not what it is, yeah.
Phospholipids must be used to make a liposome. Unfortunately, people can call random things phospholipids. So you can call soy lecithin, which is used as an emulsifier to make chocolate, a phospholipid.
When
You can
it's
call
not
it
actually.
phosphatidylcholine. It breaks down in your digestive system. It doesn't get through your bloodstream to get past the blood-brain barrier, but you can call it a liposomal supplement. Yep. And so it's just shocking to me that, I mean, in one aspect, it's great because there's so many things that we can do, and we can get supplements into the hands of so many more people. But in another aspect, there's a real lack of transparency. It comes from, the way that people can classify things, and the lack of need of checks and balances to make sure those things are actually effective.
I think it also comes down to integrity, right? There is a lack of integrity in this space. People are trying to get rich quick. They're trying to come in, build these brands, get acquired, on to the next thing. So this get rich quick mentality that people have, and they lack integrity, they're just trying to, fool the consumer. And believe me, I see it on Instagram all day, and I have to really hold myself back and be like, should I message that person and tell them what's actually in the brand? But I'm like, listen, it's not my place. But the amount of shit that people are consuming,
it's horrible.
Thinking that this is liposomal and X, Y, and Z, it's all marketing.
I see it every day, and I never want to disparage another brand. I can say that I spoke to the contract manufacturer that makes most of the liposomal supplements on the market. I asked them point blank, what are you using to make your liposomes? And they point blank told me lecithin.
Yep.
And I said, well, that doesn't
That's
make
not liposomal.
a phospholipid. And they said, well, yes, it does. I can go and then test the brand to see the efficacy, but I'm not going to do that. I spend time testing my brand. I make sure that it's effective. I make sure the blood plasma levels are going to increase of that glutathione or the vitamin C that is being used in our liposomal formulas. And at the end of the day, if you want to make a liposome, just use BodyBio PC and mix it with whatever you want. It's the easiest way.
And the best way for people that if you are taking other supplements, you're like, wait, this conversation is intriguing me. Do your lab work before and after you take a product to see if the levels in your blood doesn't lie, if the levels in your body actually increase. And there is your answer. And that happens with a lot of these brands, that levels don't go up. And people are like, well, am I not absorbing it properly? No, it's because you're taking in crap.
Yeah. Glutathione's a tough one too. I mean, there's a couple supplements that really are very not bioavailable in the body. So you need to take them in a specific form in order to make them work. There's transdermal glutathione, obviously liposomal glutathione, but most glutathione supplements are not going to work. So that's one to kind of look out for. Vitamin C, one trick, if you get kind of bloated or gassy after taking too much vitamin C, let's say you want to take a high dose, if you're getting sick or something, you know it's not liposomal.
Yeah.
If it's liposomal, it will never give you gastric distress.
When I had a little bit of a virus last week, I took up to 5 of BodyBio's vitamin C tablets a day.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. I felt absolutely amazing, and I kicked a virus in 48 hours and I was back on my feet.
Yeah.
So
I like
that's
to
when you
do
can
like
tell a brand is good.
4 every 4 hours. If the kids are sick and I need a little bit of an immune boost.
So this brings me into the next thing. For those like starting their health and wellness journey, a lot of people here might want to be like, where do I start? It's so it's so overwhelming with all the information that's out there.
Yeah.
Where would you recommend for women, especially with every environmental stressors, toxins, everything? Where should they start supplementing? What are core supplements that everybody needs?
From our perspective, we really look at things from the cellular health up. So sure, it's very esoteric. We don't think about it a lot, but there are 70 trillion cells that make up our body. And if those cells are not healthy, that's when aging, disease, autoimmune issues start occurring. So if you're taking care of your cells, overall your health is going to be better, and you are going to be more resilient to the onset of environmental toxins that we're getting on a daily basis. So what are those environmental toxins? The different chemicals in foods, chemicals in our environment, chemicals on our roads, chemicals in our beauty and in our detergents, everywhere. So it's everywhere, and we have not evolved as a species to put up with these environmental toxins. So we talk about, you'll see in the Wall Street Journal, the article, cancer rates are rising, colon cancer in 20-year-olds. This is crazy. This was not happening 50 years ago. So we need to do something to protect ourselves more. So to protect yourselves, it's very simple. It's BodyBio PC, which is a phospholipid complex.
My favorite product.
The 5 phospholipids that make up that wall that protects your cells. The wall is also what protects your mitochondria, which is energy production, and that's needed for us to sustain our energy. So this is for women, this is for men, this is for children, this is for the elderly, it doesn't matter.
For your dogs. I give it to my dogs.
Animals, they will benefit from it. Everybody is made up of cells.
Yeah.
The other one that we think is really important is balance oil, which is hot take here. Seed oils are not the enemy. It's the way that they are processed that's the enemy. So what you need is essential fatty acids in really that whole food form, organic, cold pressed, unadulterated, not rancid, not oxidized.
One of my personal favorite products that I've been seeing a real noticeable difference with is the OneSkin topical eye supplement. I've been using it for, like I said, about 6 months. And not only has it helped to reduce fine line and wrinkles under my skin, but it's done wonders for dryness. I wake up with my skin feeling super hydrated and moist. So if you're a biohacker like me, or just somebody interested in peptides and want to look just youthful and age gracefully, you need to check out OneSkin.
So that's a really great supplement because that helps with the cell fluidity. That helps the cells communicate with each other. Added bonus, amazing for skin and hair health, especially as we age. A couple other things that we think is critically important to this is butyrate. This is a postbiotic. So you've heard of prebiotics, you've heard of probiotics.
This is a post.
I like to think of butyrate as, the plant is the probiotics, the sun and water are prebiotics. The byproducts, so the flowers, the fruits, the vegetables that come from a plant are your postbiotics. Postbiotics are so important, and we are lower than ever because what disrupts the gut? Herbicides, pesticides, glyphosate, environmental toxins. And you need postbiotic butyrate because we are producing less than we've ever produced.
And we were talking about it in the car when we were driving on over here, how a lot of women with aging, and this goes back to balance oil, right, is that when it comes to collagen stimulation, we're not getting enough healthy fats.
No one's getting enough healthy fats anymore. So that pervasive kind of knowledge from the 1980s of low-fat diets still sticks with us. So yes, we're not eating margarine anymore, and we're not using alternative fat, substitutes or low-fat yogurts. We're going for the whole food, whole-fat versions, but we're still not consuming enough healthy fats.
Right.
And I truly believe that one of the most physiologically important parts of our body that is also under the greatest attack from our environment are lipids.
Yes.
So that's your bioactive lipids in balance oil, and that's your phospholipids from PC.
And anybody listening to this, and longevity, obviously everybody wants to look beautiful and age well and stuff. You cannot do that if you're not taking in enough healthy fats.
No.
It just cannot happen, And another thing is people are like, well, I take my collagen. Collagen doesn't synthesize in the body unless it's put together with the right type of other supporting supplementation and compounds. And fats is a very big part of that. So if you're having collagen supplements and you're not taking vitamin C and you're not taking zinc and you're not taking copper and you're not getting in your fats,
none of it's going to work.
You're going to pee it out of yourself. So don't even waste your money.
Yeah.
Best quality collagen will not stick to you, and you will not be able to up your actual natural levels.
No. So it's really going a little bit deeper. And I think people really start to do this they turn 30, they start having some health issues, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, where do I start? How do I feel better? What's going on? And it's just kind of this adventure that you go on in your early 30s, and turning 40, I look back on it and I'm like, God, it was such a ride. I think one of the things that I'm so grateful for is now that I have this knowledge from my grandparents, from all the functional and integrative medicine doctors that we use, I can help distill it and make it more digestible. Correct. So like, how do we take these very technical things and understand them?
And break it down a little bit. And I think BodyBio does a great job on that, on social, hearing you speak, you in panels, you in podcasts, and simplifying these concepts that are so overwhelming and technical. And you're like, wait, what are you even saying?
Yeah. It doesn't need to be that technical, but also don't waste your money on things that don't work.
And adjacent to this, like you have some of your products, what are some of the other supplements that you think are core to your personal regimen, right? Because you've been on this journey for a while that you were like, this is essential. Women need to be doing this.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Number one is nutrition. Number one is you cannot out-supplement a bad diet. Number one is really focusing on nutrient-dense foods, nutrition, which as a working mother of 3 young kids, like I'll forget to nourish myself, and then I'll go in with like a heavy diet or a heavy meal. Always really looking at blood glucose. Really, I like to occasionally wear a CGM just to monitor that, make sure that my metabolism is staying kind of steady, so you're not getting those crashes and those ups and downs. But when I can't do that, I just really stick with eating fats and protein at every meal. Really critically important.
Yesterday at dinner, we spoke about something, and you talked about glucose right now. Butyrate has a great impact on your glucose levels. And the big reason we're also aging are these glucose spikes that you're putting your body through, the ups, the downs, the ups, the downs. Your body's like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah. So how can butyrate help with that?
Butyrate's really cool. It, it works in your gut. So it's this great anti-inflammatory molecule in the gut, but it also helps with your metabolism and blood sugar regulation. So I truly believe in balance. I truly believe in indulging. I believe in enjoying those moments in our life. And so if I go out and I indulge in something, or I have, a great dessert that I've been craving, just pop a couple butyrate. It's going to help with that blood sugar stabilization. It's going to help with the digestion of the food in your gut, and it's going to help with the anti-inflammatory benefits. So it's a great little trick. Also, if you ever eat any fried foods or you're exposed to oxidized vegetable oils, it helps at the cellular level to break down those toxins so they don't affect you.
It's a hero supplement, I think.
It's a funny one because it's stinky. So I always tell people, some people think it doesn't smell. You think it does.
I don't think it smells.
Crazy. So when I open the bottle, I always put the capsules into the cap, and then I take it from the cap.
I just pop it straight in.
Trick. I never touch them.
Yeah, no. And also talking about HCl, so a lot of people have low stomach acid. I, by the way, have had low stomach acid, and now that I've taken butyrate regularly, I'm not having the bloat that I get normally after food. So I want to talk about how dysregulated our microbiome is and why people have such low stomach acid.
A lot of it, you've got issues within our microbiome that happen from environmental toxins or the foods that we're eating, or foods that are kind of inflammatory to most of us.
Yeah.
Like, to some extent, gluten in the United States is going to be inflammatory to many of us because the way it's processed. So so many people go over to Europe and they say, but I can eat a bowl of pasta in Italy and I'm fine. It's a different processing, and they do not have a lot of the chemicals over there that we have over here. So you've got issues within our microbiome. You have issues within bile flow, and keeping the bile flow healthy between the liver and the gallbladder and the pancreas, all these different organs in our body. Yeah. And then we also have issues digesting foods. So one of those regular mainstay products for me are different types of digestive enzymes that I take. I also take ox bile after I eat a meal with protein, just to help with that digestion. We don't make one, but right now I'm liking vital nutrients, pancreatin and ox bile. I take TUDCA for that purpose as well, overall for liver health, but also for bile flow. My mother had her gallbladder removed. I don't want gallstones. That helps to break up those gallstones, little trick. And just to really get the maximum out of the fats that I'm eating. So anytime I take PC and balance oil, which is typically going to be after breakfast or lunch, I will also take those digestive enzymes.
I use BodyBio every single day, and their hero product, which is a necessity in my family's life, is PC is a pure liposomal phospholipid complex that helps protect the 70 trillion cells in our body from aging, environmental stressors, and toxin exposure. I truly believe that the fountain of your health is actually cellular health. This little guy is great for you, your husband, your kids, even your pets. And I've been feeling all the amazing benefits. better cognitive function, mental clarity, digestion, and even higher levels of energy throughout the day. Our health truly starts with ourselves, and PC is giving you that maintenance day in and day out. It makes sure that the good stuff stays in and the bad stuff does not get in.
I did not. I learned so much about stomach health when my grandfather sat with me. We were in San Diego. We were sitting on the beach eating tacos. I looked at him. I said, I can't eat that. I was on Nexium, Prilosec.
Yeah.
I had just had 2 endoscopies.
Wow.
What did they tell me? You have IBS. I was left with like, I got nothing.
Yeah,
here.
what are you going to do?
No
and
one's
the
telling
worst
me
feeling
anything.
is when you can't eat and you like food, and I know you like food, the trauma that you
I
feel
felt horrible.
awful.
No energy. And so I was down to eating like
traumatic.
chicken soup. And he looked at me and he was like, take this. It was an HCl. BodyBio used to make an
Yeah.
HCl. We don't anymore.
Yeah.
And he was like, you'll be able to eat this taco.
And you're
And
like, no.
of course, he was eating it in a cassava,
Yeah.
in a cassava burrito that they had in California in like the early 2000s. But it changed my outlook on it. I stopped all of those medications. At the time, they were prescription drugs. And approached my digestion from the top. So it was like, I'm not producing enough stomach acid. Let's take this. I no longer have to do that.
Right, because your body
Because my
has the right
body-
levels and
Exactly.
it's adjusted.
Exactly. So I no longer have to take HCl with every meal. Sometimes if I have a really big meal, I'll take it just to help with the digestion. But so often if our digestion feels sluggish, there's things going on
Other
deeper rooted
underlying
that we
issues.
need to
Yeah, your body's always
address.
communicating to you. And I think people just want to pop a pill for that versus going a layer deeper and being like, what's actually going on? What is my
Yeah.
body not doing correctly?
Yeah.
And where can I support that journey?
You see this a lot with social media and people seeing like a zeolite spray on TikTok or something. And it's like, okay, now your kids are getting a zeolite spray.
Yeah,
and you're taking it
exactly.
every day. Well, what is in that zeolite spray?
Correct.
Where's the certificate of analysis? Does it have heavy metals? Other heavy metals? Is it binding to healthy minerals as well? So
Correct.
it's not about kind of hopping onto all these trends. It's really about just kind of taking your health a little bit more seriously and looking a little deeper.
And now I bring this kind of like directly brings me into something that a lot of women, infertility in our generation has gone through the roof. So whether you're looking to freeze your eggs and you're not getting enough good eggs, to be able to freeze and kind of put away, and even prenatal health. So I know you've done a lot of research into this as well, and BodyBio has some exciting stuff coming up in the future, but I wanted to talk to you about prenatal health, infertility in women, and even if somebody just wants to be like, hey, I want to freeze my eggs this year, research into this as well, and BodyBio has some exciting stuff coming up in the future, but I wanted to talk to you about prenatal health, infertility in women, and even if somebody just wants to be like, hey, I want to freeze my eggs this year, what should they be doing for good quality eggs?
6 months to a year before you start thinking about preconception.
Correct.
When you are in the pre-preconception phase, you should think about cellular detoxification. Because what happens is these environmental toxins that we are exposed to, they get into our nuclear and mitochondrial DNA, and they sit there, and they hold on to heavy metals, and they hold on to toxins, and they affect our epigenetics. And then you're going to start to get that, whatever your Achilles heel of health is, based on your genetic predisposition,
Right.
turned on. So you want to address that cellular detoxification first. You're going to do that with PC, balance oil, butyrate, and TUDCA, and glutathione.
Yeah.
And so you're going to do this kind of pre-detox. It's not going to feel like a detox. You're not going to feel sick.
Right.
It's just feeding your body with these healthy fats to nourish your cells and removing these toxins using a couple products that are known as chemical chaperones. So that's the TUDCA and the butyrate. And the glutathione are going to help to remove the heavy metals and things so that you are not passing that on to
your
your child. The child's health is directly related to
the mother's
maternal
health.
health. We pass all these things on to our kids. And so you have higher rates than ever of autism. I think it is completely bogus to say it's because we have better ways of detecting
Not at all.
nonsense, complete
Not at
nonsense.
all.
Ask your parents how many
Yeah.
children they knew with autism back in their day. And more than ever, I have people coming to me, so-and-so has a speech delay. All of these things are neuroinflammation.
Correct.
And so how do we make sure that our kids are set up in the best way? We take care of our health. We make sure that our body is primed to have a baby. And then during pregnancy, we make sure that we are giving ourselves the maximum amount of fats and healthy and amino acids, and making sure we're eating healthy and protein. Hard in the first trimester, hard if you have some type of disorder that causes nausea. But these things are so critically important because this is an epidemic that we are experiencing with our children. And it's not just because we're having kids later.
No.
it's also because of what we are exposed to. And so I feel so passionate about it. I'm hoping to partner. I'm in discussion now with some practitioners' offices about partnering for a preconception health protocol. And then we'll be able to study the people that opt into that, to take a look at how the health outcomes are for their children. But I can wholeheartedly say that every mama that I have PC on, they feel better. They look great. They're not bloated. They never get swollen ankles. I mean, these women look like they're thriving during pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a real difference when you talk to them about the outcomes of their kids.
And I think also like getting your children technically started on health in the womb sets them up for success. You're like getting these kids set up out the gate to have better cell health, better mitochondrial health, all of that stuff.
It's so much more than a prenatal.
Yeah, totally. And I wanted to also go into dosage. So if somebody's starting, like listening to this podcast, they're like, hey, where do I start with PC? Where do I start with butyrate? I know it's 2, but PC dosage, can we go through that? And balance oil?
Yeah, I mean, PC and balance oil are essential nutrients. These are not supplements. This is like having olive oil.
Yeah.
It's an essential nutrient. Balance oil you can use in your everyday life to pour on top of your foods. You never heat it, but you can use it in replacement of olive oil. I'll do like a half olive oil, half balance oil for my homemade salad dressings that I make. I make homemade mayo with balance oil and egg yolks. I'll use it on, like, it's wonderful on mashed potatoes or just poured over meat. It's so easy to take. It's so easy to use. Put it in your morning coffee. To break a fast, even put it in smoothies. It makes them so much more kind of like creamy. Balance oil is a really easy one just to involve in your everyday life. You don't have to worry about specific dosages with that one. It's an essential nutrient, as is PC. But PC is really one that's become very popular for people who are suffering from chronic illness. So if you've had Lyme, mold toxicity, autoimmune issues, and you've come to BodyBio, you might be taking a much higher dose that your doctors put you on.
Yeah.
And that can be up to 3 tablespoons a day for 6 months to a year and then taper back down. So it really depends on your health. But we always recommend people start low and slow.
And then build themselves up.
So you can build up to, right now I'm doing 2 tablespoons a day for a specific detoxification protocol I'm doing for mold. On a daily basis, I usually have about 1 tablespoon a day when I remember. I'm terrible just because so often it's like I'm giving it to my kids. I'm making sure my husband's taking it, but you forget about yourself. So I'm being better. I have a reminder in my phone to drink more water and take PC.
And what about people who are taking the pill version of it? How many should you start with? Listen, I told my husband, he's like, I'm taking 2. I was like, you should work your way up to 5. And he looked at me like I'm cross-eyed. I was like, no.
5's a great dose, or just take the liquid because it's so much easier. 2 capsules is half a teaspoon. 12 capsules is a tablespoon. So it gets a little bit much if you're taking the capsules.
Yeah.
I like the capsules for travel. But mostly I use the liquid.
I like the liquid.
It's much easier.
And what about kids' dosage?
I just cut it in half.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my kids get about a tablespoon every other day, or a teaspoon, sorry, every other day. And balance oil consistently, like throughout the meals.
And what about for pets?
Oh, put it on the floor and see what happens.
Oh,
they lick it.
But
they
would
eat the
lick
capsules.
all of it. That's
pour
the problem.
balance oil on their food for their coat.
Yeah.
Their coats will be beautiful and shiny. I mean,
My
I've
dogs
got a
think it's a
15-year-old dog, an 8-year-old dog, and 2 8-year-old dogs, and they're doing really well.
Yeah, they're thriving. My dogs, after dinner, they're like, oh my God, it's treat time, it's supplement time, it's treat time. And I'm like, okay then.
We literally like do games with our Belgian Mal and like throw the pills in the air and she catches them.
She's like, this is a good life. I want to get into that navigating the wellness industry, right? It's gone up to becoming a $1.8 trillion industry in 2024. Yeah. And out of that, you can just imagine how many people, like we said earlier, just trying to get rich quick, right? There's so much noise out there.
Yeah.
We've obviously talked about what BodyBio is doing, but overall breaking it down, right? How do you navigate that conversation? You know, really building this brand. Obviously, you guys are all about efficacy and all that stuff. But what are some of the other practices that you've taken? Because obviously I know about it, but I want to hear people here to hear about it. That the things that you do, it's all about integrity for this brand.
It's authenticity, right? We are sticking with the mission that my grandfather started back in the day. He never thought that people would understand phospholipids.
Right.
He thought it was always going to have to be prescribed through a doctor. And so we really sat with him, and I spent so much time with him explaining, Pop-Up, this is going to work. People are taking their health into their own hands. And if we stay true to that authenticity and that transparency with our customers, and we help them along their health journeys, whether they are very healthy or whether they are very sick, they will stay loyal to us because they know our products work. They know the products make a difference in people's lives. It is not, we always talk about like, they have the sizzle, we have the steak.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that actually comes from substance and truly caring. And everybody at BodyBio really believes that. It's part of our company culture. And I think it's such a critically important thing because you're going to see so many other companies coming up and they'll have their research to prove X, Y, and Z. And they have a ton of funding, not as much in the last year as it was previously, but they'll grow and they'll be super popular and it'll be really pretty on the shelves of Erewhon, but it may not actually be that effective.
Yeah.
And there are some great things out there. I won't deny that there are some great companies. We do not make everything for everybody, nor will we ever. That's another part of the integrity that we stand by with our mission and vision. But really dig a little bit deeper, and seeing the other side of the supplement industry has really opened my eyes to really wanting to just look into things more. And it doesn't have to come from an angry place of, I want to see the C of A. It's just educate yourself.
Educate yourself, like just know what's out there. Is a brand for me, it's like when I look at a brand, I'm like, you're scaling so fast because someone's throwing dollars at you. But is your production the same? Is your sourcing being able to be maintained? Are you making sure that you don't have bullshit fillers in your products that people don't tend to know about?
I mean, I see this a lot with companies that were doing protein powders. You see it a lot with collagen. You're seeing it right now with colostrum.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, don't even get me started on the colostrum. All of a sudden, everyone's taking colostrum.
That's what I will say. But it's another
and
one
not
of
good
those,
quality colostrum.
and it's not the cure.
No.
Like, that's
They
not
sell
what's going to change your life.
So this is another thing. I hate how brands market themselves. So I get served ads, obviously, all the time on Instagram with supplements, and you have certain colostrum brands that are coming at me. And I was like, what you're saying and you're asking your influencers to say, colostrum actually does not even do.
Yeah, and this is supposed to be regulated by the FDA, but they don't regulate it that tightly.
Yeah.
It should, and the FTC for that matter. But there's a lot of studies to show that there are a lot of benefits of colostrum. I actually really like liquid colostrum. You can get it from the Amish, Dutch Meadows or Miller's Biofarm. You can actually order it. So if you're having like severe gut issues and you're looking to go through like a gut restoration protocol,
that's what you do.
Liquid colostrum's the way to go, because think about the other. It's processed and it's frozen. How are you going to protect all those delicate compounds within that product in something that's powdered? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I do like Equip's.
I was just going to tell you, that is the one that I am taking, and I love that brand. I like their efficacy. I like their product. I really like
their protein.
Their
they have
protein's
an unflavored
amazing.
Protein
That's
powder.
what I take.
That you've got no stevia, you've got no flavorings. It's great.
Clean, and it's grass fed.
Yeah, and like for the kids, if they want chocolate milk.
There you go.
I use their chocolate.
This kind of brings me to the big pharma conversation, right? So we talked about the FDA. I want to go towards big pharma and how, anybody who's into wellness knows the pharmaceutical industry in this country is not your friend. They make money on keeping you sick, and sick enough that you stay alive to continue using their products, right? So they're not backing you to actually get better. But they also aggressively come after the supplement industry because they're not interested in people getting better.
Yeah, and people, there's a lot of greed involved in it, right? So they'll see a supplement that works like NMN, and then they'll take it off the market to patent it to make it a drug.
Correct.
Because it can be a very profitable thing to be a drug. And there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of money that's required by that company or the biotech firm that picks NMN and decides they want to run some research on it. And so that'll cost them tens of millions of dollars to put together that research and come to the market with a drug. At the end of the day, it's all a Band-Aid. They're looking at a symptom. They're not looking at the root cause. We've heard so much in health and wellness on Instagram about root cause.
Root cause medicine, yeah.
And it really is the truth. Like, there are reasons these things are happening. We can dig deeper. We can get to the root cause. You have to find the right practitioner to help you along that journey. But there are more now than there ever have been. And it's really about, for BodyBio, we truly believe that there is a foundation in which we can help everybody. And there are certain things that everybody can be taking to help build that cellular health foundation. Because at the end of the day, disease occurs in your cells.
And I want to touch upon that as well. A lot of disease is now being linked back to the gut, to cellular health. 10, 15 years ago, this wasn't even a conversation. Disease like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, they're seeing that emerge from the gut now. So this is where the gut plays such a big role, and I want to talk about cells and disease. You guys talk about this all the time, about how so many diseases actually emerge from irregular or dysregulated cellular activity.
Yeah. So it's sure, parts of it are from the gut, parts of it, much of it is from mitochondrial dysfunction.
Yeah.
So I'd estimate, up to 5% of diseases are kind of a genetic, 95% are mitochondrial dysfunction.
And can be prevented, now we know, can be prevented in your lifetime. If you are prone to something, and just because your parent had it does not mean you're set to get it if you do preventative work earlier.
Yeah, and this is really where it comes into play of like our world. I love when people say like, well, I did this growing up as a kid. Well, our world is different. And the toxins that our parents and our grandparents were exposed to are now affecting us. It's passed down through the mother, through these multi-generational issues, and it's depleted our mitochondrial function. And so we have this conversation about, avoid seed oils like the plague. Well, 80% of the mitochondrial membrane is made of cardiolipin. Cardiolipin requires linoleic acid.
Yeah.
What is linoleic acid? Omega-6, the terrible seed oil. So it really comes down to, for us, looking at disease prevention, symptom prevention, really looks at mitochondrial function and how do we optimize mitochondrial function? How do we nourish our bodies so that they have the right fats and also the right, it's other things. It's amino acids from eating meat. It's taking amino acids if you don't eat meat. It's minerals. It's making sure that we are drinking clean water. It's making sure that you are looking at everything that you put on your body and in your body. Right. And so this isn't a fear-mongering thing of avoid this, but like don't use downy scent things in your
or drink tap
washer,
water, guys,
or drink
in America.
Tap water. Like very simple steps we can take to drink spring water, which has beautiful minerals in it. If you're drinking reverse osmosis water, make sure you're remineralizing it with minerals. We're coming out with a new liquid mineral soon.
I'm excited about.
And just taking these steps that a lot of people are talking about these days to change these toxins coming our way, because those are what get through to the mitochondria to affect our health.
And in tandem to supplementation and obviously nutrition, which are core, what other holistic modalities have you tried or people around you that you're like, you know what, this stuff really works? This is bullshit, but this actually really works.
I really like red light. I'm really getting into understanding melanin production, melatonin production, getting out in sunlight. It doesn't have to be sunlight even, just natural daylight. Not using sunglasses, getting our lights exposed to the sun early in the morning so that our bodies can create and adapt the cycle in which it needs to get great quality sleep. I'm not very into wearables at all, but I do like to use an Oura Ring to just monitor my sleep and look at that. I like red light at night, so I use a Bond Charge red light next to my nightstand instead.
I use a Therastage.
And like I look at my phone at night too. I mean, I'm reading on a Kindle, so you're going to be exposed to these things. So the more you can kind of block that light, but like I don't have my children running around red light blockers or blue light blockers. But I'm getting into understanding that a little bit more. I'm definitely going for cleaner skincare, cleaner beauty products, clean hair products. That's a big one for me. Scent. I don't do scents anymore. I got to like a point when I was like, I think I was about like 36 years old, where I was noticing that like fragrances were just giving me a headache. And I was like, I can't put this on my body anymore. So I use a lot of essential oils. Jennifer Fisher has a great little essential oil roller. That smells delicious. You get a scent, but it's not too strong. What else am I doing? I think that's it.
You're really against dirty energy. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so I am getting into EMF mitigation without putting on my tinfoil hat. I do think it's important to look at these things. I turn off Wi-Fi at night. Like, what an easy thing to do. Hardwire your cameras so you're still safe. If you use, Ring cameras or something, you can have those hardwired. And then I turn off my Wi-Fi at night. I do use Wi-Fi during the day. I'm not like plugging into an external modem here, but it's something that I can mitigate for myself and for my children very easily. So we do that. And I'm just kind of getting into understanding more about air quality, especially given that we went through mold. So specific air filters that I like the Air Doctor, I like the Jasper, I like the Medify Air. It's really inexpensive and very effective. Jasper's kind of like the Ferrari of air purifiers, but there's some other great ones out there. And then there's other really easy things you can do that I've learned about on this mold journey and in working with a building biologist to our HVAC system. So if you can get into your HVAC, get it cleaned once or twice
Regularly,
a year.
yes.
Because it's a buildup of mold in there. And then you can put in some UV lights that not emit ozone to actually just kind of clean and purify that air is really, really awesome. And then you have this great, you're filtering the air in your house.
Yeah.
Because more recently we have these airtight houses and these really efficient
natural
smart
light,
homes.
yeah.
Like not into a smart home, but these
Yeah.
really airtight,
Vacuums,
insulated
essentially, yeah.
homes that have no airflow. Like open your windows, get some airflow.
It's
Ground.
Like,
I love going to the beach. I love
Yeah,
sticking my
going to
feet in the sand. These
it's the
things.
basics I think people need to start getting back to, right? It's like natural getting morning light in, like you just said. I think it's the basics that people can start with. You don't have to go for all the expensive biohacks out there. You can
No.
start basic and
Yeah.
build yourself up. It's the healthy habits that turn into lifestyle, and that lifestyle is what turns into preventative over time.
Sauna's another great. I mean,
Cold
so
plunge.
easy. I'm not doing cold plunge.
Yeah.
So I think when you are like a high performing woman dealing with children, I'm constantly working to calm my central nervous
Not
system.
further.
And I think with that adrenal and the cortisol effect, I know intuitively it's not the time for me to be cold plunging right now. It's not going to be good for my health.
Yeah.
For other women, that might be the right
Work for
time for them.
them, yeah.
And for guys, I think their bodies are made differently. It might work completely differently for them.
We
But
have
for
4
me, not
hormone
right now.
cycles a month.
Yeah.
They don't go through all of this.
Yeah.
You know, my husband started cold plunging religiously. We have a cold plunge in the house. He loves it without fail. I can't do it every single day. There's some days that I'm like, I don't think this is the day I'm going to do it. And same thing with fasting. I really want to quickly talk about fasting. Women tend to overfast and starve themselves. Number one, not everybody is a candidate for fasting.
No.
You have to check your resting blood glucose levels to see, am I metabolically flexible enough to be a candidate? So you have women who are like fasting because they're like, oh, that's what the trend is. We're not all candidates, number
Yeah,
one.
it's true.
Number two, if you are not a candidate and your body becomes hyperglycemic, you're actually going to totally fuck up your hormones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in your mid to late 30s and going into your 40s, that's the last thing you want to be doing because technically we're all premenopausal at this stage, right?
Yeah.
So how do you fast? Because you do it well.
I really kind of don't. I try to eat on the
Yeah.
early side with my kids just because
Correct.
life gets
You're
like
naturally doing it,
busy,
right?
so I'm
Yeah.
naturally doing that. And then I don't really snack too much. If I do, I'm gonna eat a high fat
Yep.
snack at night. If I'm still hungry, I'm really not restrictive. It's about that beautiful balance for me.
Yeah.
Oftentimes in the morning, I will I drink the Organo Gold coffee because they test for molds and they have the reishi spores in there, which I really like. So getting that morning mushrooms. I drink it with raw milk, a bit of balance oil, and sometimes I'll also add in the Equip unflavored protein powder into that. And so you're getting this kind of very nutritious drink first thing in the morning. Sometimes I won't then eat if I have the protein powder until like 10 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
but I really don't. I don't fast. I
You're
don't
naturally
find,
just, yeah.
It's naturally, I give my body that break overnight, but intuitively it just doesn't feel like something that speaks to me. At this point in my life, maybe it will under a different hormone cycle or at a different time. But for me, it's really about nourishing, getting
Taking
those
care of
healthy
yourself.
fats in, taking care of yourself. I don't think any women are eating enough fats.
Correct.
Myself included. I mean, I went over my diet about a year ago with our nutritionist, and she was like, "What? Where are your fats? You're eating a ton of protein, but where
Yeah.
are your fats?" So adding those in have been really interesting.
consciously
That is
introducing
so
it,
important
yeah.
to hormonal health, especially as we age.
And everybody wants to look beautiful, right? We all want to age super gracefully and have plump skin and all that stuff. And fats play a key role in that. So do not be scared of eating healthy fats. I'm not telling you go have a fried cheeseburger.
No.
Well, you can once in a while. It's all good. I love my Shake Shack here and there. But,
Same.
you know, healthy fats are essential to women especially.
I mean, it's very funny that I've had multiple people tell me when they're going through kind of skincare protocols and they're getting into skin, and they're like, well, go look at the BodyBio girls. They all have,
Correct.
They look great. Their faces
Yeah.
look great because they eat a ton of fat. They take a ton of, our skin is our largest organ.
Correct.
Our organs are made of our trillions and trillions of cells.
They need the fat.
Feed your cells those fats. So you need PC, you need balance oil, you need those healthy fats for skin.
And so this brings me to a question I'm asking all my guests that are coming on to, you know, the podcast. What is one lesson or that you've had throughout your life to this date, to where you are today, that has been instrumental into shaping you?
Live in the moment.
Live in the moment?
I do not live in the past. I do not live in the future. I live for today, for what's in front of me. It is a blessing that I learned from my maternal grandfather. He was an artist, and he was just such a wonderful, wonderful inspiration in my life. I got all the science and the biochemistry and the engineering brain from my paternal grandfather, who started BodyBio, but I got that beautiful artistic side from my maternal grandfather, Gino.
Yeah.
And he really taught us all to live very much in the moment, live for today. I love that saying, if you live in the past, you're depressed. If you live in the future, you're anxious.
Yeah.
And so by just really focusing on the things you can do today, I think it's been just instrumental in guiding my life and also kind of where BodyBio is going as well.
And what you guys are building, and where can people find, obviously BodyBio, so, website, obviously I know it, but for our guests over here, website, Instagram, where can they learn more about the work you're doing?
Yeah, everything's just, our handles are all at BodyBio, and people laugh because I jump in there all the time, and I'm answering DMs, and I'm answering things, and we are, even the customer service team is under the marketing team. So we have a handle on everything that's going on and really trying to help people live better lives one cell at a time. And that we really live by that mission. So at BodyBio, bodybio.com, that's it.
Thank you so much for doing this with me. I'm a huge fan of the brand. I started as a consumer and then I got to know you, and I've been on the brand, I've been taking the product for about a year and I love it. And people see me talking about it on Instagram. So I was so excited to bring you on and really educate people on the supplement space, because I thought there's so much noise out there. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, guys.